Alright, hello, welcome to another tutorial. So I've been trying to figure out how best to do this current tutorial to make it short and simple, just cover things that you might not already know. So I'm just going to be looking over the new additions to Storyteller. We're going to be looking at Storyteller 2021. And this is a little short project I was testing. I'm just going to exit out of this. Actually, I'll go back to my default layout and I will go ahead and delete these files here. And I'm going to make a new scene. Alright, so what I'm going to be showing you is putting together some nodes, updates that were made, and sending that data over into your scene to use in-game. I'm just going to do it really quickly, and you're going to be able to follow along with this. Alright, so if you already have Storyteller, then you simply import the update from the package manager. If you don't, then you download it from you get it on the asset store and then import it with the package manager. Alright, so I'm just going to go to Tools, Storyteller. I'm just going to close this little start window here. And you'll notice that you have this window appearing in front of you. This is the pre-interface. So what's going to be displayed here are your projects, your user projects that will be submitted to me, and I'll set them up here. And you can read through that info. It's not too important right now. But all the projects that you create, all your story projects, will be displayed here. And the two display modes, there's the list view and the grid view. In the list view, you can see your story names, the date it was last saved, and the file size. Your story project can now have varying file sizes depending on the amount of images and size of images that are stored inside that story file. So you can now save your character cover image, environment image, scene images, various character evolution state images directly to your story file, which comes with the added benefit of allowing you to simply share that single story file and have the person who wants to view that story file also view all of the necessary image data. All right, enough of that. I'm just going to create a new project and show you the other updates. All right, so I am going to simply click create new, and we get this nice little window here. And here you have three different project types, which you always had: text, voiced, and storyboard. By default, we're on storyboard mode, and I'm just going to run through these settings, which you'll also be able to change at any time. All right, so first, microphones. By default, the first microphone in the list here is the one that's going to be used, but you can select the one you want to use, which is this one for me. That's going to turn blue. Under media, you have storyboard images must scale to fit. That means that when you add a storyboard image, you can set it to scale to fit, turn this off, set and scale to fill. You can dynamically change this without having to hard set the values here, and I'll show you that. Store images locally, as I mentioned this before, and this will affect file size. You can turn that on if you want to have your images in your project be stored directly to the story file. If not, they'll be dynamically regenerated each time you open your project. A custom export location. This is for when you export an HTML compilation of your story project. You can choose a custom export location. If you have not chosen a custom export location, it will be saved wherever your story project is inside of the Unity project. The modes: storyboard mode, use audio clip length, tint audio, visualization with changing color. This is a new function which allows you to tint your waveform visualizations inside the nodes and timeline with the changing color. I may show you that. It's kind of self-explanatory. Auto cache, we've already gone through that. Auto backup, we're going to turn this off. This will create a duplicate of the project each time you save to have a backup of the previous project. And what else do we have here? Story sample editor. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and just create this new story project here. Previously, you had to select a folder and then click create so that Storyteller knows where to actually put the project, but that's not necessary anymore. By default, if you simply just click create, it will create the project under the asset folder. But if you want to put it in a specific folder, you select a folder and then you can click create and it's going to put it under that folder. I'm just going to put it under the assets folder. I'm just going to click create. It's maybe a text product. And now let's look at some of the other updates that we've added to this. So once this opens up, I'm just going to go ahead and create a couple of nodes here. And again, I'm going to hold on Control and I'm going to left click. And I can create 9 different types of nodes. I'm going to create a character node. And the story does need a character. And I'm just going to create a dialogue node here. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a mess. Now, I'm going to hop to the timeline. And again, you can create your nodes in the timeline also. So if I select this dialogue node here in the timeline, and let me just zoom up a little bit, and I click Control forward arrow key, I can create new nodes, and I can do this out here also by selecting the node itself. And one of the things that's not cool is if you have like spaghetti nodes, which you should not have inside of the Storyteller. But if you have something like this, then it's really no problem. It's very easy to correct. So there's a new function that was added, which is, let's go ahead, let's zoom a little bit. I'm going to right click, open up the context menu. I'm going to click auto arrange, and you see it's in, it says new, click it, and there you go. Everything's going to be in order. You may need to move 1 or 2 things around like that, but that's fine. All right, and then there's also this. You can select a node, like for example this one, and if I right click on it, I have to select it first, then right click, and then go to select subsequent nodes. It grabs all the other nodes in the chain, then you can move those around. So that's to help you doing arrangement of your nodes. All right, let's look at the audio visualization, the waveforms. So if I go ahead and do a voice recording right now, if I go ahead and double click this microphone here to do a voice recording, this is an example voice recording, and I stop it. If we look down here in the timeline, we can see that we now have our voice recording audio visualization there. And we can tint this. If I click this, I set a chaining color here. I can go into my settings, Windows, settings, and tint audio visualization with chaining color. And there we go. It's now tinted here. And if we have multiple other characters, they'll have their own chaining color if you want, and you can visualize that separately. All right, so that's some of the changes that were made there. Let's look if we have any other major changes here. I don't want to make this video too long. It's already 8 minutes and a half. All right. I did improve the cleanup system. So if you want to make sure that everything is in order, you can click this button, which will look for illegal connections. But it should warn you if you're actually making those illegal connections, like this. Illegal connection stopped. I'm just going to press escape to detach this. There we go. And you can look for unused nodes by clicking this U here, and it'll tell you if there are any unused nodes. So those are improved. Just going to close that. All right, now let's say we wanted to take this little, let's assume that this is our entire story project and we want to use this in game. Let me go over here. Clear that. Let's do the fun stuff now. Let's go to the inspector. Actually, let's right click and go Windows, Game Bridge. Yep, there's our Game Bridge window. And let's dock it next to the inspector. And where is the hierarchy window? Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to put my scene here. I'm going to create an empty game object. All right, I'm going to game object, create empty. Now, the first thing that we want to do is, I'm just going to create two empty game objects. And I'm going to create a story file, scene data asset. And I'm going to take this story file data and I'm going to push it over into the scene data asset. The scene data asset is usable in-game. So I'm going to right click anywhere. You can create it in your story product if you want. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to go to create, go down to game bridge, scene data. I'm just going to leave it with the default name and just press enter to just go ahead and finish creating it. And I am going to go to, I'm just going to select it. I'm going to click no name here. And I've now told this scene data to use the story data from this story project. However, it's not done yet. I have to click this push to scene data to actually take all this data and put it in here. So if I click this, then all this data is now here and it's now usable. It can be now used in game. All right, we're already almost 12 minutes in. Lucky I didn't go with the full detail tutorial. It would have definitely gone over 2 hours. All right. Anyway, next thing I want to do is I want to select a game object here. I can do this two ways. I can add component and I can type in INTER for interactable and add a interactable character, an interaction trigger, but let's just add an interaction. An interaction is a core component, which is kind of the brains of the system. So that should always be in your scene when you're using the scene data. And now, once you add a interaction system, it's going to ask for the scene data. So I'm just going to drag in the scene data here. And there we go. We're done. So when we select our nodes, we can see our node data be displayed here. Now, if you've seen the previous videos, you'd already know how this all works. All right, so each node is selected displays its own data here. And there's been some updates made to this also. So let's go ahead and add some conditions here. So if I go ahead and add an event there, add a condition here, we can add a sub condition here, which is, we just call it an if statement. Let's go ahead and add some if statements there. So basically what this is saying is this node is selected, right? And if our game is running and our character is doing this, then if this condition is met and this condition, whatever it is also met, and this condition is also met, then this function will execute. Now, you can have your condition be whatever you want it to be, which now means that you can actually run whatever you want to run. And you can also make it so that if this condition is met, then you can also trigger this function to run. So you can make it as dynamic as you need to make it. And then it will move on to the next one. And so on and so on. Now, one other thing that was added to the update is node convergence, which is something that persons have been asking for a little while. So I'm just going to create a new scene here. I am going to stretch this and I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to Windows, and I did create a template of this, so you can do this also. Templates and convergence. I'm going to double click it to load in my convergence example. So basically what you're looking at here is, I'm just going to hop over to my properties. Yeah, there we go. And my timeline, zoom this. All right, so what you're looking at here is branches in story. So if you have multiple branches in story and you want all your characters' actions to converge at a single point, then you can do that now, which really brings everything full circle, and it's really, really good. So we have this character doing something, and there's a branch in the story. Our character does X, and there's an option to do A or C. The character does it. Let's say the character moves over and does B. This changes some function in game, and if the character does C, it does D. That also changes some function in game, and then you can have those both lead to the same outcome if you want, or you can have them both lead to this particular route, and then the route processes particular data that each of these events here from B and D pass on. And then you can have basically anything you want to have happen. And again, I'm just going to mess these up just to show you that we're not you don't need to worry about this spaghetti node stuff. So I'm just going to right click and auto arrange, and then you can just grab whatever you want and just move it out the way, and there we go. So I think those are all of the more recent updates. There's a whole lot of internal updates to get rid of minor bugs and things like that. All right, I could actually show you the local image saving, but that's self-explanatory. Yeah, so let me quickly check again if there's anything else I need to show. No, I think you're all good. So let's go ahead and cover this once again. There are 9 different types of nodes. You can hit Control and click on the canvas and create whichever nodes you want. But remember, your story needs to have a character. And you create your characters and then you use them. The reason why you can't create a bunch of characters and not have them be used is to avoid loosely scripted characters. Your character data can be exported, and one of the things you don't want is to export empty data. So when you have a character like this, it's best to actually create a character and then use it, and not have a virtual list of characters which don't actually exist in your scene to have clutter your exported data. So you can create any type of node you want here. You can connect them, and you don't need to worry about clutter because now you have your auto arrange. You can go ahead and grab by pressing Shift and drag. Grab them, Control, delete to delete them. All right, and you can press Shift and forward arrow key or back arrow key to move through your scenes. And of course we have that visualization. Oh, and one more thing, if we look inside of our let's put this down here. Oh yes, there are also new functions here. Let's go ahead and show you this really quickly, and then we'll be finished. All right, again, you can visualize this. You can turn on the visualization here to hide that content. Or if we had, let's go ahead and create another character. Do this really quickly. A dialog here. Click anywhere in the node to connect it, and just create a bunch of these. Let's do it again really quickly. Just action node and a dialog node this time. I could create these nodes faster, but by using a shortcut, but my screen recorder prevents that. So I'm just going to do it like this, and it's still quick. All right, let's say that we have these 3 characters, but we only want to focus on 2 characters. This character up here and this character here, they all have the same name. Let's rename them really quickly for you. I can double click the name area and call this Mr. A. And let's call this character Tom. We want to only focus on Mr. A and Tom, not on no name. So what we do is we can actually hide this character. You can click the H button here to hide it, and now we can only focus on these two characters in the timeline. If we want to view our hidden characters, we can click this this crossed out H up here to view our hidden character, and we can unhide it. And there we go. So if we have a hidden character and the H is visible, then you're going to be seeing the hidden character. If the H is crossed out, we won't be seeing the hidden character. So we can unhide that. And over here in the story sample editor, we can see details on our nodes. So you can actually see your this is an icon showing that it has an audio or voice clip, sound effect or a voice clip. You can actually see a storyboard image in here, and you will definitely be seeing all of your text in here also. If we go ahead and to this node, actually it's this one. So if you go back to this, you'll see the text there. And you'll also see a storyboard image if you have storyboard images. And if you add a storyboard image to this and you want to scale to fit and scale to fit without having to hard set the value in the settings, you can click these buttons here to scale to fill and scale to fit. All right, so that should cover all the current updates for this current version. If you do have any questions, you can actually send me a message on Discord or email. I will respond to it. Watch this, select subsequent nodes, just like that. All right, so thanks for watching again. I'll see you in the next video that will be covering any other major updates to Storyteller. Bye.